This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, let's get into this week's mailbag. And we will start off with a patron who says, and this is from Freeman, and he says, "Hi, Matt. Going to make it quick this week so you can move on to others. I took a look at the bookies' odds for the Royal Rumble. I don't advocate for gambling in any way, but they have CM Punk as a heavy favorite to win the men's, and Bayley is the favorite to win the women's, albeit not as clear of a favorite. What are your thoughts, or is it too early to tell?" I think that CM Punk being a favorite makes sense. I think another favorite, heavy favorite, even more so, is really Cody Rhodes, who I think is kind of a shoo-in to face Roman Reigns in part 2 and finally finishing his story that we're all just so eagerly awaiting. And I think that really Cody Rhodes is the favorite in my mind. I know that the booking odds may say different, but in my mind, I think Cody Rhodes is number 1, CM Punk is number 2, LA Knight's number 3. I think that's kind of where we're at. As far as the women go, Bayley can win, but to be totally honest with you, she doesn't need the Rumble to get to Io Sky, and I don't think Io Sky versus Bayley is a particularly interesting main event for the women at WrestleMania. So I think Bayley is a favorite. I know there's also lots of talk of Sasha Banks coming back. I'm not trying to start rumors, but that seems to be where the rumor mill is headed right now. So Sasha Banks potentially returning is a possibility. And of course, Becky Lynch. Now, Becky Lynch has really had a quiet 2023. You know, she hasn't done a ton. And now she's in a program with Nia Jax that actually is halfway interesting. And eventually she'll get to a big opponent. And that big opponent has to be Rhea Ripley, does it not? Also, a quick shower through. What is the difference in gimmick between the American Nightmare and the American Dream? They seem like the same thing to me. What is actually nightmarish about Cody? That's a great question. Now, what's the difference between the American Nightmare and the American Dream? Well, there are commonalities. We don't have Cody Rhodes wearing polka dots. I think his father in some ways was a better promo in some ways, but on equal footing. As far as what the nightmarish part about Cody Rhodes is, I could give you a list. His suits, his hair, his teeth, his smile, his incessant need to be impressed with himself. I mean, I could go down the line. But, for the rest of you that are actually fans of Cody, what's nightmarish about him? I don't know. Him trying to just be the playing off his dad's gimmick of the American Dream. And instead, what's the opposite of a dream? A nightmare. Okay, so if you're the American Nightmare, how are you embodying the American Dream? Like, what? Why are you so? If you're supposed to be the name of your gimmick, and the name in partly your name is the Nightmare in direct opposition to a dream, well then, okay, why are we so similar? It should be, in a lot of ways, the opposite of a dream. But I guess a dream can be a nightmare. I mean, just by saying a dream, we think it's a good dream. If we're going to get really into splitting hairs here, I mean, there's lots of dreams that aren't nightmares, but all nightmares are dreams. All right, we're getting too deep. Okay, thank you, Freeman. Okay, let's get to Elijah. And he's a patron and says, "Hey there, Matt, and everyone else who makes this amazing show. Eli here. I've been a supporter of the show for around a year and moved on to Patreon ad-free for a few months now. Side note, it's absolutely worth it. I've been watching WWE since I can remember. I'm 22. Awesome. I stopped watching fully in 2015 and started back up in Backlash of 2021. This has been the most exciting time I've ever seen. I went to SmackDown this past week in Providence, Rhode Island. It was amazing. The pop for CM Punk was huge. What do you think is going to happen next with CM Punk after seeing Monday Night Raw with Rollins? Absolutely destroying CM Punk, in my opinion. This mad Punk looks weak. I think Rollins has a huge advantage over him with the fact that he's been consistent day in and day out. But honestly, the money talks. So who knows? I'm super excited to see what happens at the Rumble. I'll be attending. Anyway, have a great day. Well, thanks a lot, Eli. I hope you are doing well. And it seems like you are making a lot of people jealous. You're going to be at the Rumble. You were just in Providence for a big SmackDown. I feel like next you're going to tell me you're going to WrestleMania. But yeah, so first of all, thanks for supporting the show, number one. Number two, what do I think is going to happen with CM Punk? Well, that's the whole Seth Rollins CM Punk match. Not yet. I think that's just a preview of things to come, maybe at WrestleMania. So that's maybe how they get there, is Punk winning the Rumble, or he doesn't have to win the Rumble. There's two paths to a championship at WrestleMania. You know, people think, oh, it's just Rumble that you can go to main event WrestleMania. No, there's not. There's two top championships in WWE as a whole, one on Raw, one on SmackDown. So there's two paths. That said, who does CM Punk face first? It's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, he could go after the Judgment Day. Everyone seems to be mixing it with the Judgment Day. Work with Dominic Mysterio, kind of some throwaway heel that he's not going to really have a true program with. You could do that. But right now, Rollins is not the target yet. We also haven't had a chance to have CM Punk really retort Seth Rollins. He just kind of stood there with a smirk on his face. And we didn't get to hear anything back from Punk, really. Nothing that you wanted to see. At least the way that they did like the MJF CM Punk promo where it was true back and forth. They gave them like 20 minutes. That I would love. But I agree. I don't want soft looking Punk that calls home WWE and all that. Like, sorry, I don't want that Punk. You know, that's not the Punk people signed up for. But welcome back to WWE on behalf of WWE. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Eli. All right. Next patron. This is Anthony from California. And he says, an embarrassment of riches is the best way to describe the current talent situation. The end of Survivor Series really felt like the dawn of something big. All of a sudden, a 3-hour Raw doesn't seem too long and a 2-hour SmackDown doesn't seem long enough. Roman is an afterthought. I agree with you and Anthony, but the two of you need to give up on The Rock wrestling. It just isn't going to happen. If memory serves you, said you'd be off at last WrestleMania, but here we are again, live in the now. How rad is it that one of the top 3 stars is a woman? People are visibly upset when Rhea isn't on Raw. Pretty awesome how far the women's division has come since the Attitude Era. Keep up the good work and talk to you next time. So Anthony, yeah, like I know I said that last WrestleMania, like I'm going to be off it, but then The Rock, if you recall, I mean, you may be old enough to remember, The Rock did return to SmackDown a few months ago. That happened. That was a thing. I know he didn't directly impact the bloodline or anything like that, but to say that The Rock's not going to wrestle again, I don't think that that's true. To me, The Rock wouldn't be coming back in any capacity if he wasn't going to have at least one more match. And the thing is, to me, though, eventually Father Time's going to win. Eventually, The Rock's not going to be able to compete anymore. He's going to be either not in ring shape, just body starts breaking down. Roman may not, maybe something with Roman happens. His health issue comes back. Maybe they're not and Roman Reigns isn't in the right place. Maybe Roman Reigns is a babyface. So you don't want that versus The Rock. So to me, all the stars are aligned for one final time this year at WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania 40. It doesn't get bigger than this. The talent roster hasn't been this good since the Ruthless Aggression era. And you have everything aligning with The Rock. And if it doesn't happen this year, I'm off it. I mean, that's it. And as far as the women's division, yeah, the women's division surely has come a long way since the Attitude Era. No doubt about it. Rhea is one of the biggest stars on Raw. Now, is she bigger than LA Knight? Is she bigger than CM Punk? Is she bigger than Randy Orton? No. But Orton's on SmackDown now. And as far as the women's division goes, yes, she is the face of the women's division. Yes, I agree. And to think about where they were to where they are now is pretty remarkable. And You wonder if the Give Divas a Chance movement never happened, if WWE on their own would have decided to do it. I don't know. That's how the whole thing started. Hashtag Give Divas a Chance. If we all remember. So, all right, Anthony. And one more point. You're right. 2 hours of SmackDown and 3 hours of Raw. I don't hear a whole lot of people complaining right now. Now, for those of us on the Hulu version, which is 90 minutes no matter what, there's not a lot of change, and sometimes that's all even a task to get through, but it hasn't been. So, all right, let's go to another patron, Efren, and he says, "Hello, good sir. I want to start with how much me and the boys freaking love the promo with Rollins and Punk this past Raw. Rollins wasn't joking around, wasn't doing that annoying laugh, not making the crowd sing his song, just straight serious Rollins making Punk know that he isn't here to play and that he has he was the man to beat on Raw. So with that being said, do you think that somehow Punk will win the Rumble to match up against Rollins at WrestleMania and Cody wins the Chamber to rematch against Reigns? Gonna be honest with you, we really don't want to see Cody win back-to-back Rumbles. Let me know what you think. The three horse guys, Efren, Noah, and Marshall. Well, Efren, Noah, and Marshall, hope all of you are doing well. And I agree with the Rollins and Punk promo on Raw. That was awesome. He wasn't the jokey, insane, outlandish, cartoonish Seth Rollins. That was reserved for another day, as we got a very stern, real Seth Rollins. That is something I need every once in a while from Seth Rollins. I got to say, sometimes he's too happy-go-lucky. He's always worried about the crowd singing his song and welcoming us to Monday Night Rollins. All this stuff that's just so kind of just check off the box. Okay, he said this week. Okay, check. Well, did you say did you ask the fans to sing your song yet? No. Okay, quickly do that so I can check that off the box. This week was different, and it needed to be, and I liked it. So as far as this WrestleMania season, how it's going to set up, I mean, Cody winning back-to-back Rumbles is absolutely a possibility. In fact, I actually put Cody Rhodes above Punk in winning, because they made they made a point on Raw to say that there's only 2 or 3 people in WWE history who have won back-to-back Rumbles. Stone Cold, I know, is one of them. And I forget who else it was that also won back-to-back Rumbles. It's a very, very short list. So they made the fans aware of this very, very exclusive VIP list to perhaps foreshadow Cody Rhodes being added to it. And if he does win, he will not be number 30. I would imagine he's probably stuck in it like number 21, 22. That's probably where he's at. And I could see Cody winning and challenging Seth Rollins, but ultimately choosing Roman Reigns. And then you have a wide open Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. And the Chamber's right there, as you said. I think it's the kind of flip-flop for me. Punk wins at the Chamber, and you have Cody go back-to-back and challenge Roman Reigns. So that's my thought. Thank you, Efren. Let's go to another patron. Darren Diaz. He says, "Hey, WWE Podcast family, I gotta say I love Anthony's idea of Randy beating Roman at the Rumble and Cody facing Randy at WrestleMania. So if Cody wins the Rumble and switches to SmackDown, would there have to be a trade? And if so, who do you think would go to Raw? LA Knight, maybe?" Okay, Darren. So no, I don't think, because I don't think it'd be a permanent move. They may allow Cody to float between both brands, because they like to have Cody on both shows anyway, if you've noticed. Cody Rhodes randomly shows up to make the save or give us a very inspiring pep talk about the troops, as he does this week. So, I don't think it'd be a true trade. If they ever did, LA Knight coming to Raw, hell yeah, bring it on. But I don't think it'd be that way. I think they want the best of both worlds, and having Cody appear on both shows would be the way that I think they'd want to go. So thank you, Darren. Okay, let's get to DJ Kuzmo, who says, "Hello, AEW and WWE Podcast World. It's DJ Kuzmo back at it again. And back by popular demand, none other than Yeet. Yeet is back. Main event Jey Uso can finally use this infamous catchphrase. And catchphrases and nicknames have been the norm for years in WWE and pro wrestling, up until now, where we got LA Knight's Yeah, Jey Uso's Yeet, Roman Reigns, acknowledge me. Punk's best in the world. / hell froze over. R-Truth, what's up? MJF's I'm better than you and you know it, and so on and so forth. Now back to main event Jey Uso and the Yeet movement. Do you think that Jey could possibly win the Rumble to get a WrestleMania spot with Roman and possibly Cody in a potential triple threat, or do you think Jey ends up probably facing his brother at WrestleMania? I think it's the latter, where Cody, or rather Jey, faces his brother at WrestleMania. I think that's probably where he's at. However, Jey did make a hell of a statement and a hell of a case over the last few weeks of being in the main event title picture. The Yeet movement is on. It's in competition with the Yeah movement. Jey has the crowd. He can wrestle his ass off. So maybe they're rethinking their strategy. However, I still believe they'll do Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania, and I just I don't think that they're going to put Jey in a main event spot at Mania yet for a singles title. So as far as Jey winning the Rumble, no, but I think he'll be probably in the Final Four. Since 2020, Jey, in my opinion, has started to have his own identity outside of being a tag member of the Usos, where he feuded with Roman at Clash of the Champions and Hell in a Cell. But then fast forward to this year after his SummerSlam title match against Roman, and we finally got to see Jey on his own, while his brother remained on SmackDown with the Bloodline. The Yeet catchphrase took off somewhere around the summer or early fall of this year, and wherever Jey wrestles on Raw and on house shows, the crowd does the same hand motions as Jey. When his music hits, they say Yeet. Anyway, to make a long story short, a case could be made that main event Jey Uso could possibly win the Rumble to finish his story and become the new undisputed champion. DJ Kuzmos signing off. There's a case for Jey to win. Yeah, absolutely. Jey winning the Rumble isn't the craziest idea in the world. I think he's on the outside looking in, but I think he's on the fringes of being in the actual conversation of real contenders to win. He's on borderline conversation for that. And I also want people to get off the narrative of finishing their stories. I don't like that. I know Cody uses it, which also kind of spoils it for me. But all of a sudden, Shinsuke Nakamura wants to finish his story. I think Drew McIntyre even said it, that he wants to finish his story. Like, everyone suddenly is using that language, and I don't like it, because to me it also kind of exposes the business. Like, that is their job, is to tell stories. We know we're watching a story. And finishing their story, to me, is a bit of an exposure of the business while I'm watching. And also, their story never ends. So even if they win the championship, which I guess is what that metaphor is supposed to really mean, that journey doesn't end there. Their story continues. So, all right, DJ. Thank you. Let's talk to another patron, John. And he says, what's up? Liv Morgan has been sidelined by injury for months, but could be returning soon, possibly in time for the Rumble. What do you see as her path forward? It seems like WWE was pushing her pretty hard this year. Number 2 in the Rumble, tag champion, high-profile injury angle during her feud with Rhea. Could she win the Rumble this time around? And does she have any chance of getting one over on Rhea Ripley? I share your concerns about Ripley's title run lacking true significant opponents. While Liv is much smaller than Rhea, WWE reportedly pushed them as rivals this year, and she's quite popular with fans. I don't think that they're going to, especially, here's the thing. It's WrestleMania season now. We're pretty much in that. They're not going to put Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley right now. Even in a return, fans would pop for her return, but then I think it would wear off very quickly. I think her return would be very much like Juicy Fruit or that red striped zebra gum. Those of you that are 90s kids know what I'm talking about, where the flavor lasts about 5.5 seconds. And then you're left with this bland, lifeless piece of malleable just whatever in your mouth, and you want it out. I think that's kind of how Liv Morgan's return would go. Fans would pop quickly and then realize, Liv Morgan, it's just Liv Morgan. That's just how she's been defined for years. So it's hard for us as fans to really recalibrate how we want to feel about her. So I don't think that they're going to do too much with her. She could return at the Rumble, make a little bit of noise, but ultimately get eliminated. It's probably what we're looking at. Also, I've enjoyed Shinsuke's evolution, particularly the anime graphics for his promos. I agree. It almost feels like he's making good on what WWE tried to do with him with Karrion Kross in his promos. My only critique so far is that if they want Shinsuke's threats to feel significant, he needs a decisive victory over a credible opponent to close one of these arcs, and thus far they don't seem to want to pull that trigger. I agree. Now Shinsuke, for all of his attributes and the rebirth of Shinsuke Nakamura with these backstage promo vignettes, now adding anime, they've been highly entertaining and fun. I don't see him beating Cody Rhodes, and they haven't given him a big victory yet. So I don't see him beating Cody Rhodes, especially given where they're positioning Cody to be probably in just a couple of months. So, all right, John, thank you. Let's see where else we land here. I know that we had some other patrons, but I have non-patron emails, but as you guys know, I want to make sure that patrons do get their priority here. Let's look. I'm directly in Patreon here. I know I thought I saw one. Yeah, there we go. So this is from Shahar. And she says, "Hi, Matt. Hope everything is fine. Let's talk about my girl, Becky. So it seems like WWE is preparing for Becky versus Nia Jax. But when? With all the buildup that started the previous Raw and the history from 2018 they're pointing out, it's going to be a big-time match." See what I did there? Yes, I do. But they can't do it at Rumble because Becky won't be able to participate in the Women's Rumble match. I know it didn't stop her in the Rumble of 2019, but it's unlikely to happen again. If she's not participating, she can't win the Rumble and go after Rhea for WrestleMania. That leaves us with the chance of Becky winning at Elimination Chamber, but highly doubtful. On the other hand, they can't do it on a regular Raw or even on the Day 1 edition of Raw because it's a high-profile match. What do you think they're planning on doing for the program? I actually think they'll do it on the Day 1 edition of Raw. If you remember, Day 1 was a PLE. And this is kind of a PLE light, if you will. It's a bit of a stopgap before Royal Rumble without calling it a PLE. It's not the label of a PLE, but it'll have big matches on it. And I think this is one of them. I don't think it's such a big match that it needs to be reserved for the Royal Rumble. It doesn't feel that big to me. No pun intended, or pun intended. Take it however you'd like. I don't think it's worthy of waiting for. In other words, sacrificing Becky in the Rumble for having a match with Nia Jax doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But even if they did, if they say they hold off to the Rumble, I think it'll just be another one of those cases where, sure, she's just going to compete in the Rumble and have a match. We've seen, I think even didn't Brock Lesnar do, somebody else did that. Roman Reigns did that. So it's not unheard of. It's actually kind of a way to swerve the fans a bit, if you will, where they think, oh, you're going to have a match. That means you're not going to be in the Rumble, which most of the time is the case, but we've seen examples otherwise. So either way, I think Becky's in the Rumble. Even if they wait till the Rumble to have the match with Nia, she'll be in the Rumble itself. And so will Nia Jax. Ultimately, though, my answer is it's probably going to be at the Day 1 edition of Raw. That's my best guess. All right, Alex, the French guy, let's get to you. He says, "Hey, Matt, hot take. I don't think the Creed brothers are good. They have no charisma. They're just good jobbers. We will soon see the lack of depth they have." Well, okay. I think when you say they're not good because they don't have charisma, you mean that they don't have a whole lot of character development. That's what you mean. And I would agree that their character development has been, from a traditional sense, very lackluster. But the Creed brothers right now are getting over without even picking up a microphone. Now, that's not a sustainable strategy to be a successful star. They're eventually going to have character development. They're eventually going to have more than just their wrestling acumen. But I think right now they are getting over, and they are, when you're saying they're jobbers, I mean, they've been kicking the Judgment Day's ass for weeks now. They're winning matches. They're number one contenders. I don't think they're not jobbers. In fact, I'd say the complete opposite. Judgment Day has even said we're not going to take them lightly. They took out 4 members of Judgment Day with 2 Creed brothers this past week on Raw alone. they're far from jobbers. They look like jobbers. I will give you that. Very plain singlets, like a very amateur wrestling, collegiate wrestling look. I understand that. And I understand that they're not flashy. Their music isn't very exciting. But that stuff's surface level. It's necessary to be long-term successful and be a polished performer. But right now they're getting over and kicking ass by doing their stories and storytelling and talking in the ring. Again, not saying it's sustainable, even for a medium term, right? Like they have to eventually, in the next, I'd say month or so, give them a personality. I totally agree with that. But I think to say they're jobbers is a little unfair. That's just my take. Thanks, Alex. Okay, let's go with Grim. He says, Grim Reefer, hey, WWE Podcast. I'll get this in this week as I probably won't find time before the new year to thank you and the full WWE Podcast team for everyone and everything you guys do week in and week out. A big shout out to the dudes in the Discord. When I can stay awake during live shows, it's always good chatting. On to wrestling. Next year is going to be a fantastic year. Now the takeover has happened and Vince 99% gone. I predict good things for 2024. With so many different routes to go down, this could be the greatest WrestleMania we've seen in a long time. But the big question is, will Roman drop the belt? Will Punk win the world championship? Will someone finally finish a bloody story? No, the main question here is, where the hell is Dexter Lumis? If I don't get a chance to write him beforehand, I wish everyone a Merry Jesus birthday and good health in the new year. Stay fly, Grim. Thanks. Same to you, Grim. Thank you for supporting the show. Somebody needs to finish their damn story. I would totally agree with that. Like that's my number one wish this year, is that people just get to finish their effing stories and stop talking about their stories. That would be awesome. Will Roman drop the belt? That's a good question. And I'll actually ask you guys this question. Which is more likely? Roman dropping the Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania or Punk winning the World Championship at WrestleMania? Or a World Championship. So, they could be facing one another. Very unlikely, though. I don't think Punk versus Roman Reigns is in the cards for this year's WrestleMania, but let's pretend that Punk's going after Seth Rollins' world title. Is Punk beating Rollins for the world title more likely at WrestleMania, or Roman dropping the belt to, say, Cody Rhodes more likely at WrestleMania? Good dang question. I like it. So thank you, Graham. Okay, let's get to another patron here. This is Frank. He says, let me talk to you guys. So I was thinking about some great dream match for WrestleMania 40. One that would be awesome to see is Bronson Reed versus Ivar versus Sheamus versus Gunther in a last man standing match. That would be awesome on paper. And the reason I say that is Gunther, the ring general, does not need to be in a multi-person match at WrestleMania 40. That is not, to me, where I would position Gunther. Gunther is a guy that right now he's slated to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, so I'm sure Brock Lesnar will return at the Rumble or in the Rumble or at some point to stand off against Gunther in the match, and they'll eliminate each other, and that's where the program will start. That's my guess. But Gunther should not be buried in a 4-person match at WrestleMania. Now, Bronson Reed and Ivar, you can make a case for that. I mean, any position they have on the card would be an elevation because they need that exposure. And Sheamus, sure, you can plug him honestly anywhere. You could plug him in anywhere. The dude is a jack of all trades, and Sheamus not being a part of the Brawling Brutes is like taking the heart and soul out of the group. Okay, so with The Rock saying on a TV series called Heart to Heart, he will be at WrestleMania 40, but yet he said he's not. He said not. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm having trouble. He said he will finish off Roman and make Roman turn babyface is the only future Roman has right now. That's all for everybody. Okay. So listen, Frank. If The Rock did say something on TV, which I'm unaware of, with Heart to Heart, I don't even know what a Heart to Heart is. I have no clue. But if he said that he's going to be at WrestleMania 40, if he actually said those words on this show and he doesn't face Roman Reigns, shame on him. I'm not even putting this on WWE. WWE is more than willing, clearly, to accommodate Dwayne any way they need to make this match happen. So it's all on The Rock. It's all on The Rock for this to happen. And I will forever hold this against The Rock if it doesn't happen. For all the teases, and he's done direct teases on his own shows with Little Rock or whatever it is, like the kid version of The Rock. I don't know, whatever the hell that's called. I can't remember the name. That he's done teases there. He came on Pat McAfee's podcast and teased it. Then he came back to SmackDown, and he doesn't face Roman at 40. I mean, come on. If anybody forgives The Rock for that after years of anticipation and then directly teasing the fans, if you weren't going to do it, just shut us down. Don't give us hope. I'd rather have that than stringing us along for 4, 5, 6 years and then not having it happen. Because, I want to start something, not just finish it. Lame. Nobody gives a damn. Fans just want the match. They will be more than satisfied with just the match. Let's not overthink it. I think that was a nonsense excuse, honestly. I'm hammering The Rock, not you, Frank. All right, so let's get to a couple of emails here, and this is from Shahar. So let me get to your email here, because I did answer your questions in Patreon, but I did also ask you a few questions on the mailbag last week, and so you're responding to my questions. So here we go. You said that Haifa, which is where you live in Israel, is the third largest city in Israel after Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, which I'm sure you've heard of. Yes, I have. A great place. I can see the Mediterranean Sea from my office window. I'm a lawyer. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. That's I can tell you that pretty much everyone except you living or in the sound of my voice probably doesn't even have a body of water outside their window at all, much less the Mediterranean Sea. So that's pretty awesome. Also, Haifa's football team, not like American football, but soccer. Yes, I had a feeling, which I'm a huge fan of. I'm going to butcher this name. Maccabi Haifa is a legit UEFA Champions League team. Oh, okay. I had no idea. Again, yeah, soccer is what we call it, obviously, here. When people say football, I'm like, well, the NFL? Like the New York Giants, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Patriots? What are we talking about? And then they're like, no, football. I'm like, So thank you for clarifying. But I probably butchered the name of the team. But that's great. You have that you're a sports fan, not just for wrestling, but also soccer. Football. Number 2, I think I asked you if you knew Sharon. You said no. Haifa's really big, but he sounds like a cool dude. And I tried to find him on some Facebook groups that we have for Israeli wrestling fans, but I failed. Thank you for hearing my voicemail. Always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Well, I hope you have a great weekend too. And yeah, I took a stab at it. I mean, Haifa's a city, right? So it's not a little small knit community. I don't know how many thousands of people live there, but I just took a stab at it because what are the odds that I have 2 people who also not just listen, but call in on the show that are from Israel and the same city in Israel? It's pretty low odds. So I took a shot in the dark. I mean, I could give you his contact info, but I won't. Unless Sharon, you want me to, buddy. I will, but it's not my place. If you want me to, Sharon, if you're listening, my buddy, if you're listening and you want to get in touch with Shahar, hey, let me know, because maybe you guys can chat about wrestling and soccer. I don't know, Sharon, you actually let me know if you like football or soccer or whatever we want to call it here. I don't think we ever talked about that, but cool. All right, let's go. Let's go to David. Let's go to David. He says, the reason why CM Punk's promo was cut short was because the Dom and Randy match went a little too long. Besides that, I know people were disappointed that Punk didn't lay down one of his pipe bombs that had gotten him to where he is today, but in his control, it states that he has to behave and abide by WWE rules, so basically, he's being kept short. Yeah, I'm sure he did actually get cut short in the first promo. I've kind of moved beyond that. I got a little bit more of the promo I was looking for over the last several weeks about mentioning names and that kind of thing. But eventually, he has to lay a couple of pipe bombs down. And he's done that a little bit with Seth. So I think that's where we'll get a little more of the Punk that we want. Secondly, I'm loving the Santos Escobar story. Him as a heel seems more natural, and what he did to Ray was a true heel. What a true heel would have done. Agreed. Santos, like Drew McIntyre, has been rebirthed. Like Shinsuke has been rebirthed by going to the dark side. All right. Speaking of Ray, I hope he's back in time for the Rumble, especially because my dad and I are going. I bought very good seats too. Section A, row 12, seats 13 and 14, right in front of the hard cam. This will be my first televised wrestling event that I've gone to, and I've heard some big names are returning there like Lita and Trish, along with a rumored Roman versus Randy match for the championship, and if LA Knight wins the Rumble, I'll be there to see it. Yeah. After the event, I'm going to watch it just to see if I can see me. The screenshot, when I'm in view, enlarge it, and use the picture as my wallpaper on my background on my phone. Stay tight and out of sight. How many of you guys are just going to rub it in my face that you're going to the Rumble? Do I need to actually purchase a ticket, purchase a plane ticket, spend money on a hotel room and the actual ticket to the event? Do I need to do this? If I didn't have a family here, like if I didn't have small children, I would probably just say F it and go. You guys are killing me. Because I'm thinking of all the things that could happen. I've never been to a Royal Rumble live. I've been to WrestleMania live twice. Never been to a Royal Rumble. So you guys are pushing me here. Don't push me over the edge now. So enjoy yourself, though. Sounds like you got awesome seats. I'm excited for you, David. All right. We got, let's see. I had somebody actually message me from Albany when I attended last week, 2 weeks ago now, at Monday Night Raw, and they took a picture of me from behind. And this person said they weren't trying to be stalkerish, but they were a few rows behind me. That was just crazy. And to have somebody who, I don't know if this person was a fan of the show beforehand or not, but somebody was a few rows behind, took a picture of me holding up my sign, and then sent it to me. So it's crazy, just crazy. Don't worry, you're not stalkerish. It's all good. All right, let's go to, I think this is our final email here. Gary says, oh, come on, man. I told you last week that Randy needs to take down Roman so we can get to Randy versus Cody, and you're empathetically like, no way, no chance, not the right time. He has nothing to gain, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't say blah, blah, blah. That's not fair. Now, a few days later, here I am listening to Current State, and it's all Randy has 4 to 5 years left, better than ever, generational star. I wouldn't wait 3 to 4 years to do it now. Cody versus Randy makes sense. Give me some credit. Well, okay, Gary, listen. First, I mean, what do I need to credit you with? The idea that Randy could win the championship? I'm not going to credit you with that idea. This is Anthony DeMarco who was starting to sell it to me, and I was starting to maybe, buy what he's trying to sell me. But I'm not changing my stance. I still don't believe that there's really not anything for Randy Orton to gain. He can be, here's the thing. He can be a generational star. He can have 4 to 5 years left. He can be better than ever. But also, at the same time, him not be the right guy and have nothing to gain. They're not mutually exclusive, Gary. Both can be true. And I'm standing by it. I may have been more sold on the idea that it's possible and that it may not be the worst idea in the world. But you can't tell me Randy Orton would gain anything from this. I mean, it's not true. He's already done everything there is to do. So no one's going to look at Randy any different at the end of the day when his career is truly done and look at it and say, oh my God, well, Randy, I just wish that, his career would have been so much better if he beat Roman. No. His career is going to stand on its own with or without that victory. He doesn't need it. So I'm not backtracking. By the way, I'm not going to give you credit for something Anthony is the one that was selling me on. I didn't bring it up. And so that's kind of how it is. Hey, I'm sure you may disagree, but I stand by everything I've said. And to quote you, I'll just say it, blah, blah, blah. There you go. You can take that quote directly and email me with that next time. All right. Let's get to those beloved voicemails. Let's start right now.
Podcast world. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record to you live on a Wednesday morning on a very chilly, kind of windy, early Wednesday morning. And before we get to the Veer Mahan report, and again, of course, once again, the no-show of the end this year, I want to talk about something that I saw that just got me so excited, that just got me so happy for football. And I'm talking about my New York Football Giants. Oh my goodness. On Monday Night Football, they had a thrilling game against the Green Bay Packers with a score of 24-22 in MetLife Stadium on a beautiful, chilly Monday night down in New Jersey. It wasn't the Daniel Jones-led quarterback New York Giants. This was not even their backup Tyrod Taylor's led New York Football Giants. This was led by the continual, consistent play of a guy weighing in at 210 pounds. He's 6'2". He's right, I guess you could say, 20 minutes away from MetLife Stadium down, born and raised in Livingston, New Jersey. I'm talking about none other than Tommy DeVito. Tommy Cutlets, as everybody's calling him right now. This kid, I gotta say, undrafted. Coming into this season, undrafted by the New York Giants. And this kid has taken New York City by storm with his swag, with his moxie, with his cool and calm collectiveness, being under pressure, being sacked so many times. And yet again, this kid, he's not no Peyton Manning, he's not no Tom Brady, but consistently, he has not thrown an interception. This game, of course, he did help the Giants get to this part of the game where they were able to get a field goal, a 37-yard field goal with 5 seconds to go. 5 seconds to go. Oh my goodness! For all of the hardship that we had to endure over the past season with the embarrassing loss to the Dallas Cowboys, and of course the losses to the 49ers and all of the other teams that demolished us. Something to hang our hat on as New York Giants fans. So shout out to Elvis Escobar, shout out to Mary Grader, shout out to Gravy and all the Giants fans. It was an awesome win to see the football Giants with a score of 24-22 with a 5-second, 37-yard field goal to close it up. Now let's get to the Veer Mahan report. And like I mentioned before, once again, the end this year down in Cleveland, Ohio, there were a no-show. I don't know what's going on. We have one more Monday Night Raw to go, and I want to see them before this year is out. I need to see them in some sort of program, even if it's just going up against DIY or one of the other tag teams on Monday Night Raw. I need to see some consistency with my guys of the end this year, Veer Mahan, Saga, and the modern-day Maharaja Jinder Mahal. With that being said, have a blessed week. Pick out to one another. This is your guy, DJ Kuzmo, and peace.
Well, DJ, I like the Giants as well, and we go from 2-8 to 5-8. We're on a 3-game winning streak, and the only thing you can hope for as a fan is to dream at this point. And as Giants fans, we can dream and it's possible they still make the playoffs, unbelievably. But here's the thing: they're gonna have to run the table. The Giants are gonna have to run the table. They can't even afford one loss, so that means they're gonna have to beat the Eagles twice, beat the Rams. Okay, and beat the Saints. So they can beat the Saints. They might be able to beat the Rams, but beating the Eagles twice, and the Eagles are going to need those games for the division. They haven't exactly been the most impressive team as of late. The Cowboys going for a division title. The Eagles, you think are going to just coast? No. So it's going to be almost, I don't want to say impossible, but very unlikely that the Giants run the table. That said, it is fun to be on a 3-game winning streak. Anytime you're on that kind of streak in the NFL with so few games in the year, it is exciting. And having them beat the Packers, a legitimate team, is impressive. Now, Barkley almost cost the team the game, right, with the fumble when he hit the ground. That would have been devastating. But they came back, and they won it with a field goal. And good for them. It's a feel-good moment. And if they want to keep this dream alive, they got to beat the Saints next week in New Orleans. Not also an easy task. New Orleans, I think, is 6-7. So they've had an unimpressive season, but they're still dangerous in their own building. It's, again, we run the table, we might get in. But that's all we got is dreaming. As far as the end of Sheer goes, I think that, without consistency, I don't know what else to say. They're missing the mark on this. WWE is missing the mark. There is something there with them, and they just refuse to pull the trigger and let them go in a tag team division that always needs help. It's very perplexing. So, thanks, DJ. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Bevan from Brisbane here. I know a long time no chat. Still been listening to the podcast. Just extremely busy with life in general. So, had a chance to finally give a call. I thoroughly enjoyed CM Punk's promo on SmackDown. It's probably one of the best I've heard in quite a while, a few years. So I enjoyed how he, systematically, call people out saying, it could be you, I'm after. But the fact that he mentioned he wants to be in WrestleMania main event, I think we know where that's leading. But yeah, I just want to say I thoroughly enjoyed his promo, and I'm sure you'll cover it in great depth anyway, so no need to comment on it on my behalf because I probably will hear it in your week in review. Also, I'm enjoying Drew McIntyre. He's turning heel. We all knew it was on that path, but just the way he's doing it, even I believe him. Like, I'm on his side. He did all the hard yards. He did it during COVID. He got screwed by the bloodline. He doesn't feel for Sami Zayn. He doesn't feel for Jey Uso. I believe him. I'm on his side. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see where this goes. Excited by it because it's different. It's not just someone turning on one person and going heel. He's got a list of issues that he's dealing with and what's brought him to this point. So I find it really real, and like I say, I'm on board. So, yeah, just those two things. Just hope that you guys are all well and that probably won't get a chance to call before next year. So I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe time with family. And again, thanks for all your great content. It's such a great escape. I enjoy it so much. So cheers all for that. Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
All right, Bevan. Good to hear from you. I feel like it's been a hot minute, as the kids say. And same to you. I imagine I'm not going to hear from you until next year, so I hope you enjoy the holidays with family and stay safe in this insane world. So the Drew heel turn is brilliant. I really am enjoying this. And the reason is, as I've said before, it's a really non-traditional heel turn where it's nuanced, where it's not just this one, all of a sudden, wham, low blow, and he's instantly a heel, right? And you're just like, why did he do that? It was a slow evolution, and one that you actually understood, where he wasn't helping babyfaces because he had no reason to. And he had beef with the people that he was supposedly trying to help, and the fans were getting annoyed that he wasn't helping, but he had legitimate, real cause. So I don't know if it's really a referendum on Drew changing. He's right. The fans are the ones to blame here. We're the ones that selfishly want him to go against his own morals and his own vendetta for our own gain. So aren't we the selfish ones? Right? Like, think about logically what Drew has done here. He's targeting Jey Uso. Jey Uso cost him one of the biggest moments of his career. Or helped. I understand he wasn't directly involved in the match, but he was still a part of the bloodline. So by proxy, he is, or by relation, he is guilty. So he has a vendetta there, right? And then Sami Zayn brought up Drew's family. Well, I mean, that's kind of on Sami. If you want to take the dark approach here, but also kind of the logical one, Drew isn't really the bad guy here, but he's doing it in a way that is unlikable, and his tone and his demeanor is just off-putting in a great way, by the way. So this is all just really well thought out, and I'm enjoying it as well. So thanks, Bevan, and hopefully we talk next year. Let's go to the next one.
Hey, it's the Waz. I got a rant. Probably won't be a long one, but I got one. And it's the whole $50,000, wait a minute, no, $100,000 check that Randy gives for RKOing whatever the guy's name is for SmackDown. I can't think of it at the moment. But that just, and before I say this, I am a Randy Orton fan. Like, he's one of my favorites. It's not my favorite. And to make it so like flippant that he could just write $100,000 check without even thinking about it just seems so distant from the everyday man. And I know Randy probably, his character, wouldn't want to be considered an everyday man, but for the fans, it just seems extreme on the amount of money that he's spending. And I don't like it. 5,000, 10,000, I'm good with that. But 50,000 and then 100,000 just for next time, I love this just for next time part of it. For the next one, whatever. But that's just stupid amount of money, and it just kills the connection you have with the wrestlers when they could just easily just give $100,000 check to that. And who writes checks like that anymore? Really? I don't even know the last time I wrote a check. But needless, I didn't like it. I didn't like the amount. I like the fact that he had to pay, I guess. It's fine. Makes me wonder how much Stone Cold had to pay Vince McMahon back in the day for all the stunners he gave him. But anyways, this is the Waz out.
All right, Waz. You're probably the only one complaining about this segment, but I'm with you and I'm not. So let me explain. I'm with you on the fact that it is a very it's an outlandish thing to do, right? Like, to show how much money you have, but Randy's not showing off how much he has as much as he's being fined that amount. In other words, Randy didn't just flaunt his money like he's got cash hanging out of his pockets. He's paying a debt that he owes because of his actions. Now, it also is kind of funny that he's writing a check. People don't write checks anymore, as far as like that kind of stuff goes. I mean, he probably would have Venmo'd him, right? Like, use Venmo, use PayPal, use Cash App. Like, of course, he's not going to write an actual check. It was just a visual. It was meant to be focused on, okay, Randy did get punished, and the next time part was the zinger, which was funny. And it wasn't really Randy flaunting in his face the money as much as, again, closing up the loop of him being punished and throwing a joke in. That's really what it was about. I mean, that's it. Now, WWE in the past has done this before. I mean, you've seen guys get fined X amount of dollars, $100,000. I mean, there's been storylines going back all the way to like The Rock, who actually the Rock character was all about Rolexes and, $6,000 shirts and all that kind of stuff. And yet he got over and yet flaunted the stuff he was wearing, but did it in a way that was endearing. It's all how you present it. I mean, the fans know that these guys are getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions per year, depending on where you're at in the card. So it's not really, it depends on how you show. If you're doing it in a way that flaunts it, I think that's where it goes overboard and it's unrelatable. If you're doing it in a way that is just something that you have to do to show that, you're paying your debt, or, you're trying to be funny and doing the next time thing, that fits Randy's character, because he probably will RKO. By the way, his name is Nick Aldis. he'll probably RKO Nick Aldis again, and then he'll be like, well, I already paid. It's like a prepay, which was great. So yeah, I kind of like disagree with you and don't. Like, I understand that it is not relatable, but for the purposes of the storyline, it's how his money was used and how it was presented was not flaunting. It wasn't, trying to emote jealousy or be unrelatable. It was just that, we want to make sense of this. Nick Aldis punished him and make a joke. It wasn't Randy sitting there in the locker room and the camera catches him counting his cash. That's different. You know what I mean? And by the way, also, just so everyone knows, the way fines are dished out in WWE, it's not actually the talent physically giving the money back to the company. The company just cuts their paycheck or cuts a bonus or whatever. So they feel it, but they don't actually have to pay the company back. The company just deducts that amount from whatever they were going to pay them on a royalty check or on their weekly pay or in their bonus or whatever. So that's actually not how a fine would actually be implemented and executed in real life. It's all visual. It's all just for the presentation. So I didn't expect anybody to rant on that, but thank you, Waz. All right, let's keep going.
Ask the French guy here, your current European champion, Wade Barrett. Please, Wade Barrett, can you stop calling every move the greatest move you ever seen in wrestling history? Can you stop overstating everything you see in wrestling? No, just joke aside, I love Wade Barrett. In matter of fact, I really enjoyed Nexus, and I thought that John Cena burying Nexus was one of the most controversial and unsatisfying decisions WWE ever made. Nexus was the deal. Wade Barrett is the guy. He should have won the WWE Championship, but you cannot give the world championship to everybody. But what I mean is, as a commentator, great guy. Michael Cole the same, but him, especially Wade Barrett, they need to stop overstating everything in wrestling. Because what happens is, if you overstate everything, everything is not over. You get what I mean? Is that if you say this is the greatest match of WrestleMania history, there won't be no better thing, and if you overstate everything, everything loses value. So it's really important to set bar and say, all right, this is one of the greatest return in wrestling history. Talking about CM Punk, this is an argument that you can make. But a move, a finisher, oh my God, the best super kick I've ever seen. Then this, come on guys, this is too much. So Wade Barrett, please stop a little bit. Don't be over dramatic about everything, because you're making those events losing value by stating it. And most of all, it breaks my head, the European champion head. So that's it for me for this week, guys. Besides, WWE is awesome right now.
Alex, I'm with you on some of the criticisms of Barrett are just that. And I remember criticizing him a couple weeks ago. He called, I don't know if it was a Becky Lynch match or something. It was a pretty casual match, and he called it, this could be a main event WrestleMania. Or, it could be the main event of a WrestleMania. And it's like, bro, no, it definitely can't be. No, it can't. Stop. At the same time, I understand his position. His position, first and foremost, is to help get the talent over. We have to remember that. It's not just calling moves and holds, right? It's helping further the story and helping get talent over. So he's sometimes going overboard with that part of his job of getting talent over, and actually kind of at sometimes going a little overboard is actually doing the exact opposite, because it's clear you're overselling. And he does do that a lot. Every move he sees is the best move he's ever seen until the next time he sees it, at which point then it's the most amazing move he's ever seen, and so on and so on and so on. And it just never stops. I get it. And I'm with you. At the same time, Wade Barrett is very skilled on the mic. And I'm with you on the Wade Barrett character as a whole with the Nexus and why John Cena buried them. Remember the whole pile of chairs that came down that were set up on the stage, and they figuratively, symbolically buried Wade Barrett, but at the same time, very literally buried him in terms of the roster and where he would then end up. The whole bad news Barrett was fun. Wade Barrett never really felt like he reached his full potential in that Nexus group or even beyond that. I really do wish that we did see what that would have played out as and how far he could have taken his career. But if he's going to be under the learning tree of Michael Cole, who is a hell of an announcer in his own right, that's not a bad place to be. But I do agree he does oversell a lot. Calling just regular matches on Raw a main event of WrestleMania anytime is a joke. He does need to tone it back a bit. I agree. But just so you know, I am also sympathetic to his job, his tasks that he's being paid to do is help get talent over. So, all right, let's see and get to the next one here.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit of NXT a little bit, talk about really Cora Jade. Probably not really watch NXT too much, but come off of their deadline show, whatever. She came back, and then now she also pinned Lyra. I just look out for her because I think she's going to be in the Royal Rumble match next year as well. So I think she's just good star power. Everything about Cora Jade to me seems like star power. I think she may be in NXT for a while. See her winning the NXT Women's Championship for a while, but she is someone to kind of keep an eye on, and a name that you probably will see on the main roster sometime soon next year, along with Braun Breaker, of course, because they're also a couple. If you may not know that, of course, he's been a big name over there too. Also, Kamala Hayes. I know he's going to be on SmackDown facing in the United States Championship tournament type of thing. So that's cool. I don't know if it may not be an official call up, but yeah, just mention that real fast because I think there's some upside to Cora Jade that I really like, and so that I liked for a while since she pretty much made her debut on NXT back in 2-3 years ago, 2021. So yeah, but that's my quick thoughts on that real fast about Cora Jade, but that's additional call. Bye.
Hey Kyle, well thank you for the Cora Jade report there. Yeah, and she did return, and I saw a little bit of it. I will say with Cora Jade, she is so attractive, and I mean that from a physical standpoint. Yes, I think that's how a lot of people feel. Like she's a very, very good looking woman, but I think that actually could work against her in some respects if you want to have people take you super seriously, because sometimes you can be so attractive that it actually deters from what you want them to focus on, and that is your in-ring work, your promos, your just overall character. So, yeah, again, I'm not saying it's going to hold her back per se. It's just actually, it could be a mitigating factor if she doesn't find a way to make sure that, people aren't just focusing on, hey, wow, what a good looking woman, and just have them be like doe-eyed looking at her and not paying attention to the moves, but just going, duh, like, look, sitting there, I can't show you the face, but you can hear the noise and know what face I'm making. And just be like, wide-eyed, especially considering it's a predominantly male audience from 18 to 40. I mean, that's just the key demo, has been, always will be. So, but that said, I keep up to date as much as I can with that, but I really rely on you guys to tell me what's going on over there in NXT as far as that kind of stuff with the maybe the people that most fans aren't talking about. So I appreciate that. All right, let's get to our final voicemail.
Hey, Matt and the Dave Marcus family. New York Kyle's back. I know it's been a hot minute because I've just been really busy. But now I got to kind of start doing this weekly again because the Cora Jade report's back. Cora Jade finally returned. She returned. Apparently she took 4 months off just to take time off, but she returned. So let's get right into it, I guess. This past Saturday at NXT, almost a takeover. I'm so used to being takeovers. They haven't been since Black and Gold's ended. NXT Deadline on Saturday. They had the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge match. which is really fun to watch. The stipulation's very fun, by the way. And Blair Davenport won. Pretty cool. I like her. She's cool. I'm fine with that. She won to get the women's title match, NXT women's title match against Lyra Valkyria at NXT New Year's Evil. It will be a TV special in January. And after Blair Davenport won the match, Lyra came out and they had a little stare down, and Cora Jade attacked Lyra from behind and held up her title. Now it's her return for the first time since that Dana Brooke feud from back in August. And then fast forward to NXT's normal TV episode yesterday, Tuesday. Cora kicked off the show with a promo. Basically was saying how, like, she wants to be next in line for the women's title. Lyra came out. Blair came out. It was one of those, no, I deserve a talk shot. No, I deserve a talk shot. No, I deserve a talk shot type of promos. Then Nikita Lyons returned for the first time. She's also been out with an injury since January. And it basically set up a tag team match in the main event with the two babyfaces, Nikita Lyons and Lyra, versus the two heels, Cora Jade and Blair Davenport. And shockingly, which I'm happy about, Cora Jade actually pinned Lyra, the champion, for the win. I'm not usually a fan of champions being pinned, but I'm biased. It's Cora. So that's pretty much it. Next week, by the way, guys, stay tuned. Matt, I have a way to hook the mailbag users, the mailbag listeners in. Next week's mailbag, I have a big announcement. 3 minutes is almost up, so talk to you guys next week.
All right, the other Kyle with another detailed Cora Jade report. Nikita Lyons, thank you for all of that information. And again, you guys that watch NXT know a whole lot better than I do as far as who you think could be the next up-and-coming star, who you think could potentially enter the Royal Rumble, men's and women's Royal Rumbles. So, I mean, I don't know what more to say. Kyle, I appreciate the Cora Jade report. I hope that you're not doing this at work and getting yourself in trouble. I know some of you do that. Hopefully that's not the case, but, of course, you do you, bro. But thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, both Kyles. Thank you, all the emailers and everyone that contributes to this show every week. We invite new callers and new emailers every single week, too. It doesn't have to be the same people. We absolutely invite you to call in or email mailbag@wwepodcast.com or call us. The number's in the description notes of this show. That'll do it for me for this week. If you guys want to hear more of us, well, we've got the weekend review coming on Sunday, but also the SmackDown review that'll be coming. And for those on the Patreon side of things, the After Dark show with Anthony DeMarco is exclusive to the NXT, or either the SmackDown tier or NXT Plus and above over on Patreon. If you want to go ad free, you can do it there, or wwepodcast.com. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Mailbag. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.